Alright guys, today I'm going to be doing another video talking about something important. Again, bear with me with the camera quality. I am going to get a new camera, or get an actual camera to do my videos. But, Pete, my coffee mug, do more of what makes you happy. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit more serious. I'm going to be talking about how my sexual abuse affected me and how it still affects me. So I feel like that's not something that is talked about a lot. I'm going to be 25 this year. I started getting sexually abused when I was 4. It didn't stop until I was 14. So let me explain something really quick. I was sexually abused by like one particular person in that time period. When I got out of that situation, I still was sexually assaulted different time periods. So this particular person that was like close to me, it affected me the most because it happened for that long amount of time. That was someone that I was supposed to be like a close family member. I looked up to them, and yeah, you get it. So yeah, it started off, like I said, when I was 4, ended when I was 14. So you can only imagine what I went through. So not only was I sexually abused, I was verbally abused, physically abused. I was literally tortured. Like, I was kept from school. It was like a lot of stuff. So as I got older and as my body started developing, the sexual abuse got worse. And when I got to a certain age, I eventually got raped. So that wasn't something that I wanted to happen, but it happened. So whatever, let's get into what I want to talk about. So it was already bad enough that, I had all these health problems. So I had to deal with all these health problems, and then I was being abused by this person. So I felt like, oh my God. And then at the time, school was my escape. And then my parents were divorced. So school was my escape. Going to visit my biological dad was also an escape. But, like, both homes were both very toxic because my dad was an alcoholic. So going over there, it was like, it was an escape. I got anything I wanted. But it was still very toxic because I would go visit my dad and then he'd just be like this, passed out. And I just like, okay. And also my mom was an addict herself of opioids, and yeah, so it wasn't very balanced. It was just toxic both places. I'm just a kid, just trying to survive. Anyway, I'm gonna say how it affected me when it was happening. How it affected me when it was happening, I was very depressed, okay? I used to self-harm a lot. I did multiple suicide attempts. Those are not things that I am proud of, but it is what it is. It happened. I'm past that stage of my life. I used to, like, write a lot. When it was happening, I would write about any time that I was touched or anything like that. I would write about it in like these diaries I had. And then that was my way of like just, I needed to get it out on paper because I didn't have any friends. I didn't have nobody to talk to. And that's what I mean, like, because I didn't go to school. Let me talk to you guys about that before I get into this. So I missed 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So my developmental skills were just not there. So this is why it's hard for me to make friends. My developmental skills are like my social skills. I'm socially awkward. They're just like not there because like I just didn't go to school. So, when you go to middle school and you start your freshman year in high school, that's when you're like learning all those things, how to kick anxiety's butt, how to talk to people, how to do all that stuff. I didn't get that. So when I actually went to 10th grade, I got a big shock because the last time I went to school was 6th grade. So imagine being from 6th grade and you think, oh, I'm about to have a recess and blase blase. And the last school material that I knew was 6th grade. Okay? And then when my dad got custody of me, they didn't hold kids back anymore. So I'm like, what do you mean don't hold kids back anymore? So I went from 6th grade to, boop, okay, yeah, you're going to learn 10th grade math, 10th grade social studies, 10th grade English, and I was so confused. So that was also like a lot for me to take in. Like, I was in 10th grade, and the last thing that I knew of school was 6th grade. So that was also a lot for me to, while I was in high school, that affected me a lot because the person that sexually abused me, he did not want to see me get educated. He did not want to see me be smart. He wanted me to be dumb. For a long time, like, I was not called by my name, Sherelle. I was called dummy, idiot, stupid, or foots because this dude had an obsession with my feet. But I was not called Sherelle. I was called, hey, dumb, hey, dummy, hey, stupid. Like, I was belittled. I was told, you're never going to be nothing. You're never going to do nothing with your life. You're going to be dumb. You're going to be my sex slave until you die. And as a kid, you really believe those things. And, like, he told me, you're never going to go to college. But guess what? I graduated 2 times, so suck my dick. Anyway, and I graduated high school early, so suck my dick too. But those things really, like, when you're a child and being told that and told that and told that and told that, especially, like, being told, like, yeah, you're never gonna do anything in life, you're gonna be like your family, because some of my family, you know, they struggled with drug addiction, and it took them to the wrong course, and he knew about that. He was like, you're gonna be like your family, you're gonna be on drugs, you're gonna be selling yourself, selling your body for drugs if you do tell anyone about this abuse. So that affected me. And when I finally did escape, it like, I felt so confused, like, with my identity. I felt really confused with my identity. I felt like, let me throw this in there. I also was raised Muslim. So I always wore a hijab. I was covered from head to toe, very modest. So when I did move with my dad told me, look, I'm not going to push you into doing anything. You could still be Muslim. You can wear what you want. It's up to you. Because my dad was really like, okay, like, dang, like, this is happening. This explains a lot, blase, blase. So I felt like, no disrespect to anybody that is Muslim, but I felt like, what the hell? I don't want to be Muslim. I felt like that religion was forced on me and that it was fake because the person that was raping me, molesting me, and just claiming that he's this pious Muslim man that goes to the mosque every morning to pray Fajr he was fake and a hypocrite. So I didn't want anything to do with the religion. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I can admit that. So as soon as I moved with my dad, I did not wear the hijab. I did not cover from head to toe. Maybe for like the first 2 days I did, but after that I was really frustrated and I just didn't want anything to do with it. So I was going through like this identity thing where I didn't know what I wanted to wear. I didn't want to like I did want to show my skin because for my whole childhood to like teen years, I never wore what I wanted to wear. So it was like I wanted to show my skin, but I didn't want to show my skin because I didn't want guys looking at me the wrong way. So like it was just like it was like a lot. And then it was like I never got to wear my hair out. Like like before I was like, because I started my period when I was 10, and when you start your period in Islam, you have to wear a hijab. So like my mom would always do my hair, but then once I started wearing my hijab, there was no need for that. I would just put it up like this, put my hijab over it, and so I never knew how to do my hair, and I have curly hair. So I struggled with that for a long time in high school. Like, I didn't know how to do my hair. My dad, I'm black and Mexican. He don't know how to do my hair. So I struggled with that. I was like going through this crisis of like straightening it every day because it would look like a freaking lion's den if I just didn't straighten it. I didn't know what products to use. And you guys are probably thinking, well, why didn't you ask your mom? Here's the thing. at the time, my mom was not by my side. My mom decided to, my mom decided to pick the guy's side, or the person, what is it called? The perpetrator's side. So I was dealing with all this at like 14, like, yeah, and it was just too much. So let me scoot back a little bit. So the first person that I told about my abuse was my aunt, and then my first boyfriend. So I was in the hospital, and I just started crying because I couldn't take it anymore. Like, I was always in and out of the hospital, and like, pretty much, if this guy asked me, like, do something to my dick, and I didn't do it, I'm either gonna be doing some chores, putting my hand over some hot fire, or like, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm talking about right now, but you guys know those big cans of nacho cheese, or like just big ass cans of something. He would literally make me stand on those with both my feet until I cannot stand on it no more. It was just like stupid punishments like that, or take off all the dishes from the cabinets and wash them in nothing but hot water, and just wash them, pots and pans. Or if it wasn't that and he was just really in a bad mood, oh, I'm gonna beat up your brother, I'm gonna start a fight with your mom. It was stuff like that. So it was like, okay, do I do what he's saying, or do I just deal with the consequences of being punished because I don't want to fiddle with his thing? So it was just like, and then for a long time, I thought he was bluffing about like, oh, if I don't do this or that, he's gonna hurt one of my family members. And no, he was not playing. So it was just a lot. It was a lot to entail. It was a lot to take at my age, and it affected me a lot. And excuse me, I'm 24, and let me tell you, these nightmares, they don't go away. I don't know why, but I've been having nightmares. I have nightmares, and I recently moved. I used to live with my family. I moved, and I talked to my counselor about it. She was like, oh, you're gonna be moving to a new place. Maybe, when you move into this new place, your occurrence of nightmares will go away. And I was like, yeah, maybe. I have like a night routine, and no, like, I either have nightmares, and now I'm talking about like after, how it affects me after. So either I have nightmares about when I got raped, and I'm like watching it from a distance, or somebody I really love and care about getting raped, or me getting chased by the person who did it. And it's like, for what? Also, another after thing is, it took me years to accept my body and love myself for who I am. One, because I have all these scars on my stomach. I don't have a perfect body because of my medical history. So that was already one thing. And then because of my abuse, like, that was the number two thing. So that was really hard. And then, like, I would always try to, like, just, like, not cover up because I was insecure about my body. And then I used to self-harm on my arms and legs. So it really took me a long time to be okay with my body. And there were certain parts of my body that I was just not okay with because, like, this person obsessed over them. Like, just a perfect example. I have, like, this beauty mark right here. Like, obsessed over it, like, all the time, always talking about it. And like, for many years I hated it, to the point that I just wanted to get something and just scrape it off and never look at it again. But it took me a lot of time in therapy, and just like lots of talks in the mirror saying, you're beautiful, your beauty mark is beautiful. Just because some creep was obsessed with it doesn't mean that it's not beautiful. So it took me a lot of talks like that, and like years of doing that in the mirror and just talking to myself and pumping myself up to get over that. I used to really hate my feet because of that same reason. Like, I hated the color red. I hated wearing the color red because, like, the same reason. He would like say, oh, wear red, paint your toes red, do this, do that, and I'd be like, what? So it wasn't until, like, I'm gonna say comfortably, maybe last year, that I felt comfortable buying lingerie in red. I like got my nails done in red, and I was like, okay, like wearing like I would be okay with wearing red lipstick, but it would kind of still make me feel uncomfortable, like in 2021. But in 2022, I started feeling more comfortable. Like I bought a red dress, and I have like 2 red dresses now, and I actually bought my first red lingerie, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like it's not weird anymore. Like I'm okay with this. So that the whole red thing was really weird, because I was like, this is like creeping me out. But that took me a really long time to overcome. And I'm gonna be 25. But it's just like people don't understand, like especially people that have not gone through this stuff, they do not understand how like this stuff mentally affects you. And then like I get triggers too, and it's very weird, but like I get triggers. So like, for example, I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, for example, if I'm just like, it could be random. It could be very random. If I'm just like sitting down and I get this weird taste in my mouth, and that weird taste happens to be like a taste like that I tasted many times after my abuse. So it freaks me out. I get up, I go brush my teeth, wash my mouth, because it makes me want to instantaneously vomit. So it's like stuff like that. Or like if someone says something to me, like I hate being called a dummy. Like I will literally spit on somebody for calling me that. Like don't fucking call me that. So like that will literally piss me off. Like you can be playing with me, and then I'll just look at you like I want to slap the fuck out of you. Like don't do that. And then like I've learned that not everybody knows my trauma. Not everybody knows me, so I can't get mad at everybody for being like, hey, dummy, and I'll just be like, bitch, fuck you and your mom, bitch. So it's like, I can't do that. So with a lot of counseling and like self-awareness, it has really humbled me. But it's still a work in progress. I'm not saying like, And then like I have days where like especially right now where my mind's not busy. I'm not working 8-hour days and then coming home making dinner. Like I'm recovering from surgery. So my mind is not busy right now. Like I'm keeping my mind busy by reading books. I'm keeping my mind busy right now by doing this every day. 1 word search, journaling, and reading a lot of chapters from this book. But aside from that, like I'm used to working. I'm not doing that right now. So like, for example, yesterday I was caught in a moment where I was just really thinking about my abuse a lot. And I was like, okay, snap out of it. Why are you doing this? Hello, snap out, snap out. And I was just really stuck on it because like, I don't know, that just happens to me sometimes, and I don't like that. So, I mean, I'm human, and I'm going to be honest, I'm never going to forget about my abuse. It is something that affected me. It's something that changed my life. My whole childhood was stolen. My innocence was stolen. I was 4 years old when I started getting sexually abused. Like, that is not normal. That is not okay. And not only that, the person that abused me is not in jail. They're out here living a regular life. They have a job. They have a girlfriend. Like, what? That's like a slap in the face for me. And then let me go into that. So, you're like, oh, why aren't they in jail? So, remember I said my mom was not on my side. Let me just say that. Instantaneously, me saying that, I told my aunt first, like, yeah, I was in the hospital and I was going through a lot of health problems, and I told her, I was like, can I live with you? And she's like, why, babe? And I just started crying. And she's like, she knew, okay? So she knew. She was like, is everything okay? And she's like, is someone hurting you? And I just started crying. I was like, can I just live with you? And I told her, I said, you cannot tell my dad, because my dad is he's very weak-minded. So I knew if he would have found this out, he just would have lost it. So she was like, yeah. And I was like, but not right now. Like in a few weeks, because I had to plan my escape, okay? It sounds fucking crazy. But I had to plan my escape. And then she was like, yeah, just let me know when, let me know the details, and I'll tell your dad to go pick you up, blah, blah, blah. And I think 2 weeks after that, like, I told my dad, like, I need you to pick me up at this day, at this time, and you cannot be late. And I made him make sure of that because my dad tends to be late to stuff. So he was like, okay. I was like, this is really important. Do not be late. And then I think after I told my aunt, I told my very first boyfriend, and it was a secret relationship. Like, my dad knew about it, but my mom and the guy didn't because I was Muslim. I couldn't have a boyfriend. So when everything happened, like, they tried to tell people that I ran away, I was being rebellious, and all this other crap. So when the police got involved, they were telling the police that I didn't want to be Muslim anymore, I was rebelling, I had a boyfriend, and that was not the case. The case was that you were fiddle-faddling with a child, and you raped me, and I had a miscarriage, and I couldn't take it anymore. That was the case. So when the police got involved, they started their little investigation, blase, and my case got closed, reopened 3 times, okay? So this is the part that really pisses me off. So everybody got involved. The case, is it raining? Oh, it is raining. The case got closed the first time because we're gonna say a guy had low testosterone levels. Which, just saying this out loud makes me so fucking mad. So guy had low testosterone levels. So guy was getting testosterone injections in his ass cheeks. Okay. So we're saying that about guy. So if guy wasn't using those testosterone injections on wife, where were they going? I just want to know that. So anyway, we're going to leave that there, okay? And then when I was about 10, that's when I got my colostomy bag placed on my stomach, okay? When they did that surgery, they found out that my vagina, let me go back. They found out that my internal vagina wall was closed, like it was closed, and that my outside, like my lips were open, but when you went past the lips on the outside, my vagina was closed. There was no way you could go in. So they found that out because I had a gallon of menstrual blood stuck inside my stomach because there was no way it was flowing out. So they had to reconstruct my vaginal wall, okay? They had to do some crazy shit. I woke up thinking I had a fucking colostomy bag. I tried to move my leg and I was crying, why does my pussy hurt? Okay, that's what I told my parents. And my mom had to explain to me, look, your vagina was closed, it had to do, etc., etc. So I was confused. So, with that surgery, and my mom gave them this explanation. So remember, she was not on my side. So she gave them this explanation. She gave them this information. Oh, that's impossible. There's no way that he could have raped her. She had this surgery when she was 10 years old. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. And then exhibit guy, low testosterone. She also told them that. So it's impossible that she was getting abused and raped and etc. And I told the police, I got raped when I was like 13, 12 and 13. And 14, something like that. Okay, wait, no. First time I got raped was 13, and then it kept going and going until I ran away. Okay, so I was confused because how are you getting that from 10? Like, if it happened when I was 10, the surgery, of course it's open now, it's not closed. And I explained to the police I would have to do things to him, not he was doing things to me. I would have to put my mouth places, etc. Like, it wasn't making sense. So because of my surgery and his low testosterone, they said the case is inconclusive because the evidence is inconclusive. So the case was closed. So I was like, okay. Somebody in my family reopened the case because, like, I think it was my dad, honestly. I'm not sure. But the case was reopened. And my mom was, like, really, like, not having it. She did not like this. And the detectives told me, you know, it's hard because you don't have anybody on your side. Like, you don't have nobody on your side. Like, yeah, you have your dad, but your dad didn't live in that house with you. So And I told them, okay, well, I have these diaries in my room under my bed. And they date everything that, you know, I went through. And I had 2 diaries because I ran through so many things. I had to get a second one. And it's so crazy because, for one, I had a big master lock on it, and you needed an actual key to open it because there was so much stuff in that diary I didn't want nobody to see. And I had like I had a box spring, and then I had a mattress on top of the box spring. I slid it between the box spring part, so it was, both the journals were in there. So the second time the case opened, I don't know what the hell, but they were gonna go get those journals, and guess what? The detectives told me, yeah, we can't find the journals. We went back to your apartment where you lived, and your room was ransacked. Everything's a mess. There's no journals to be found. So what does that tell me? Guy and mom found them, destroyed them, and all the evidence to put him away was there. And then once that happened, again, inconclusive evidence. And then once they opened it again, they told me if I could get my mom to get him to confess, I would have a case closed. My mom wasn't on my side. So it was like there was nothing I could do. Then they told me if I could get him to confess, but that's the thing. This guy was not the type of guy. This guy was a smart, manipulative monster. There was no way I could call him and be like, hey, what you doing? You gonna admit that you raped me and fucked me? There was no way he was going for that. So it was after the 3rd time, case closed. Case fucking closed. And yeah, it really pisses me off because just knowing if I would have had that one little nudge. And here's the thing, to answer some of your questions. It wasn't until 2021 that I owned up to the fact that, because I already knew this for years, but it's something that I wanted to die never telling anyone about. But I was smoking some marijuana, and it was just like, okay, I wasn't smoking it, I was eating edibles. But I was eating edibles, microdosing, and this thought kept coming in my head. It kept coming in my head, and I was like, okay, if it comes up in my head one more time, I have to tell my brother, because this isn't right. But it kept coming in my head when I was doing these edibles. Like, I was putting it in the back of my head, but you know when you do drugs or something, I don't know, weed, I don't know, these thoughts that you lock in the back of your brain, they just pop up like surprises, pop. But like, I knew my mom knew about my abuse. I knew she knew. From a very young age, I knew she knew. And I just, like, I wanted to die knowing that, keeping that to myself, because it hurt me that she knew. And that's my mom. And it hurt me that she chose somebody else that doesn't mean nothing over her first and only daughter, especially because I have all these medical problems. And that broke me. Especially, not only that, the things that my mom would say to me, and the things that she would do, and the things that she would have me pick and choose. Like, because I also have a brother. So, like, some time went by after the case was closed, and I'll be like, hey, can I see my brother? No. You want to see your brother? You got to give me this. You got to do that. You got to do this. It was never an easy answer. So I was 15 already, or 16, whatever. And it was like, damn, I miss my brother. Like, we were really close. So it was like, if you want to see your brother, you got to do this, you got to do that. Or you can't see him. I guess you don't want to see him. So it was like, okay. And it was just stuff like that. And you guys are like, oh, how did your mom know? What makes you think your mom knew? Let me bring it into you guys. Okay, I'm not trying to make this video long, but this is like, I'm trying to explain to you guys all my life. But I know my mom knew. Okay, and I'm not talking to her right now because this really affects me. Like, it affects me deeply. And she says that she doesn't know, whatever. I know that she knows, okay? So, I know that she knew, and I don't know if her mental health played a part in her forgetting, but, okay. So, we used to live in these apartments, and, her guy never slept in the same bed as her, just throwing that out there. Slept in the living room, on the couch. So, we always lived in this apartment that I'm talking about. We lived upstairs, okay? So, yeah. When the abuse first started, he would tell me, like, oh, get naked. Like, I will always be walking around in a robe, in a pink robe, or in a pink robe that had hearts all over it, okay? I have pictures that I can fucking show you guys. So, he would tell me, like, walk around in the robe, but have no clothes under it. Not even, like, underwear. And I'm like, I would be like, why? Like, at the time, I was wearing diapers because I used to shit on myself because I didn't have my bag yet. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't want to have an accident. He'd be like, just do it. And then I'll be like, okay. And this is when it first started. So, this is like my mom was saying, like, oh, I'm going to go to bed. Good night, blah, blah, blah. And then he'd be like, oh, go put your robe on, but don't put nothing under. And I'll just be like, why? And then he'd be like, just do it. Like, just go do it. So I'm like, okay. And then, so I put my robe on. And then I was like 4 at this time because this is when it like just started happening. And then he told me, like, oh, come lay down with me. Come cuddle with me on the couch. And I'm just like, okay. And then he told me, like, take your robe off. And I'm like, okay. And mind you, I'm 4. So think of it as you're a 4-year-old, okay? Think of a 4-year-old. So I'm laying with him naked. Just naked. He has his boxers on. And I'm butterball naked. No little boobies. Just naked me. Just la 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 la. And we lived upstairs. So imagine you live upstairs and my mom walks hard as hell. And you just hear that coming through the hallway. And he told me, he's like, get up, get up, get up. And I'm like, what the fuck I gotta get up for? Like, what the hell? So we had like a hallway door. And my mom opened it and she puts her head through. She's like, what y'all niggas out here doing? And I just looked up at her. And I'm like, just looking at her because I'm like, I didn't know that this is wrong. And then she just rolled her eyes and slammed the fucking door. So you cannot tell me that my mom did not know what was going on. Because he didn't say nothing. He just looked at her and they kind of just looked at each other. And I'm looking like a lost dog. So you cannot tell me that she did not know. Because that is the first time that... the first incident that, you know, I can remember that happened, that as I got older, that I would be like, well, if this happened and that's not okay and I'm naked and you could clearly see that I'm naked, why wouldn't she do anything? Or why didn't she say something? So that is like my one biggest thing for me. And it's like, okay. And it's not only that, it's like my mom was very protective of, like, not protective, defensive, that's the word. Very defensive of him and not me. So, like, he could be saying that I broke a glass. I'm just using this as an example. I broke a glass and I didn't do nothing. And she would believe it. So it was just, like, little things like that is like, okay. But one thing I can say is the verbal abuse, like him calling me dumb and stupid and all that, they would argue about that. And she would tell him, like, you need to stop doing that to my daughter because that's not okay. So it's like that I don't understand. So, with that being said, not having my mom by my side at that part, it really affected me because, like I said, my dad is an alcoholic. And when I did move with my dad, the alcoholism got worse because I'm my dad's only child. So I couldn't go to my dad and talk about, oh yeah, this happened and this happened. Hell no. So I literally just had to go to counseling and just talk about it and write about it and yeah. Yeah. I sometimes worry, like, what my life would be if I never said anything or if I would have just kept it a secret or I don't know. But it's just like so, it's so odd. And I just pray and I wish that there wasn't so many sick people in this world. Like, I just wish people didn't have eyes for children. Like, because children are so innocent and they're so oblivious and just so like, they just want to play. They just want to play games. They just want to watch TV. They just want to be a kid. And we have sick people in this world preying on them. And like, I can honestly say, with my abuse, it affected me in many ways. One being, my mind, if I have a kid, if I leave my kid with somebody, you better believe I'm gonna set up a fucking camera, because hell nah, like, and that's so toxic. Do you understand how toxic that is? But because somebody like put toxic, deadly paint in my head and painted that picture in my head, that's how I'm gonna be, and I don't want to be like that. But I can't. It's never gonna go away. I'm always gonna be like if there's kids around me and they're with somebody, I'm just gonna happen to glance over, because like, that's just the picture I have painted in my head. Doesn't matter if it's a man, it doesn't matter if it's a woman, because women can be predators too. I've had an experience with that as well. So it's like, women can be predators too, and people forget that. People forget that women are sick too. Women are weirdos too, men and women. So don't forget that. And like, one thing I have to say is, kids do not make this stuff up. Like, if your kids come to you and tell you, oh, like, somebody did this, somebody did that, they're not gonna learn this on TV. Like, they're not gonna learn this on YouTube. They're not just gonna come up to you and just make this up. Like, they're gonna tell you these things for a reason. And it's the best for you to take what they're saying and to take it serious. Because if you don't, you're gonna fucking regret it, and they're not gonna wanna fucking talk to you, and they're gonna hate you, and they're gonna want nothing to do with you. Because I'm just speaking facts. When something like this happens, your parents need to be by your side. And it really breaks my heart how many moms are not there for their kids when their daughters or sons tell them, oh, I was raped, oh, I was abused by your husband or your boyfriend or blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I don't care. No, you weren't. Like, moms like that just makes me sad. Like, why wouldn't you believe your own freaking family, your own kid that you pushed out your pussy? Like, it makes me sad. It makes me feel like you shouldn't have had a kid. You shouldn't have. But that's all I wanted to say for today. Yeah. But all I have to also say is, stay safe. Be aware of your surroundings all the time. And just always, please be safe. And thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and comment.